Okay, folks, so I want to share this little news clip again. I know I've shared it a few times now, but I want to share it again just because there's a lot of really interesting storm systems popping up and a lot of damage and tragedy happening because of it. And I think that that's bothersome because I do think that the majority of it that's going on with our weather patterns and these storm systems is being influenced by these agencies and these people that call themselves scientists, right? And I just anybody that's denying weather modification and the fact that NOAA and the climate have been influencing our weather patterns for a very long time is just truly ignorant because they have been. They've been doing it for decades, for a very long time. And this, news article here, this little story, if you will, I thought was kind of interesting, so I just wanted to share it again. And it was published in the Morning News from Wilmington, Delaware, Wednesday, October 11th, 1961. Okay, and I do have on my channel there's a playlist about weather modification, and then there's a part 6 that talks about hurricane modification and hurricane moderation, and it was something that was published in the report to Congress from the Department of Commerce back in 1979, and they talk about their 5-year plans, and they talk about hurricane moderation and modification and stuff in that document too, and the report to Congress. Okay, so if they're not doing it, then they lied to Congress years ago, and somebody should probably be held accountable. But I say they are doing it, and they've been doing it. And they're getting very creative nowadays with some of the storm systems they're creating and influencing with some electromagnetic type of energy and stuff. And it's really frustrating when I see, a lot of what we're seeing now is stuff that's being influenced directly by man and by NOAA and the Climateers and by science, right? By scientists, right? Anyway, this was an interesting news article I thought I would share again. It's called The TNT Considered as Storm Killer. Washington. The U.S. Weather Bureau chief said scientists trying to control or kill hurricanes hope to bomb one of the storms with TNT in the next 2 or 3 years. But he made it clear the Bureau has no intention of using nuclear bombs on hurricanes until it knows far more about what the side effects might be. Really? The Weather Bureau chief, Dr. Francis W. Reichelderfer, okay, I'm pretty sure I didn't pronounce that right, but anyway, said in a lunch speech at the National Press Club, he believes cloud seeding might be more effective than explosions. An H bomb, he said, might simply intensify a storm, but seeding might modify a hurricane by squeezing moisture out of it and depositing it someplace else. Which, by the way, I'm going to get sidetracked for a second. The statement right here, squeezing moisture out of it and depositing it someplace else, brings me uh, brings me the opportunity, I guess, to mention once again that I feel that California should be held accountable for our severe drought that we've had here in Nevada, because they've been actively cloud seeding them atmospheric rivers that have been flowing this way for a very long time. And every time they seed it as heavy as they do, then that rain and moisture that was in that atmospheric river that was headed right for us too ends up getting seeded way down, and the rain ends up dropping and the moisture ends up dispersing before it ever reaches here to Nevada, thanks to them seeding it out there in California. So technically, California, in my opinion, is responsible for the severe drought that we've had because of all of their active seeding of the atmospheric rivers that have been flowing towards us. They haven't been allowing it to reach us. They've been hijacking that atmospheric river and stealing our moisture. Seriously. But I digress. This year, speaking 1961, by the way, just a reminder, this year, weather scientists dropped less than 100 pounds of seeding material on Hurricane Esther while it was far from land. Radar photographs indicate a segment of the storm's eye wall was rained out as a result, but the wall quickly reformed. The storm's course was not affected, and its intensity was reduced only temporarily, if at all, he explained. The Bureau hopes to use a greater quantity of seeding material on some storm far from shore during the 1962 hurricane season. Far from shore, right? Well, they've come inland, folks. I guarantee it. Reichelderfer said he can imagine the possibility someday of exploding a nuclear bomb on a hurricane far at sea. But he said this and the use of conventional explosives are still in the think stage. Really? Okay, good to know. The Bureau has held in. Do you think folks back in the 60s, back in 1961, when this was published, were, happy about hearing that they were even thinking about it, that they were in the thinking stage of using nukes and conventional explosives to break up hurricanes? Right, okay. The Bureau has held informal discussions with the Atomic Energy Commission about the theoretical use of nuclear explosions to kill hurricanes. The AEC has quoted a price of 1 million, 1 million per megaton of power. A megaton is equivalent to 1 million tons of TNT. Right, Gelderfer, said the Bureau will not spend such sums for nuclear bombs until we know what we're doing. Quote, in any case, he said, it would require changing U.S. policy against atmospheric atomic explosions. And there hasn't been any discussion of that in this connection. So, how about that? Back in 1961, all right? And, as far as detonating stuff up in the upper atmosphere, I have a few different videos that show some interesting things going on up there. So, again, for any new subscribers, there's playlists um, that show some of this really unusual stuff. And there's the weather modification reports playlist there. And back in 2018, I captured what looked like some kind of a blast wave of some kind that came into southern Nevada. And that's the video that's actually on my face page, on my homepage. Yeah, it would be this one here, blast wave. This, and this was back in 2018. And I swear that's what it was. I swear it was a big blast wave, a line of energy that came into the southern end of the valley here. So as far as them, you know, not detonating anything in the upper atmosphere, there's other videos too that show things like blasting up near the sun as well. I have other videos. There's another one that shows like seeding missiles being injected into the upper atmosphere to the north of our location. So they're most definitely doing it. And to anybody that's still in denial that they're not influencing our weather patterns and influencing our atmospheric, rivers and influencing storms out at sea, so to speak, you're just truly ignorant. And they love you. You're the reason why they've been allowed to get away with it for decades. For over 8 decades, they have been influencing our weather patterns and our storm systems. And back when they detonated all of those freaking nukes throughout the 60s, them upper atmosphere ones that they did, they created artificial radiation belts and they created deep space weather. It's not something that's coming from way out in outer spaces and deep space weather that's affecting us. It's energy that they unleashed inside of our atmosphere that has been surrounding us and that has been affecting us and influencing our weather patterns since the mid 60s and stuff. Somebody should be saying something about all of this going on, you know. Just saying. Thanks for watching. Know that I appreciate you and that you matter very much to me.